clean off my camera a little. Oh, that's a little better. All right. I'm actually slightly late today, but that's okay. And as usual, I'm just going to wait a minute for some people to show up. So if you're watching this after the fact, feel free to fast forward like 2 or 3 minutes. Unless no one shows up, in which case I'll just do nothing and go. Oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe no one's coming. Oh, no, someone's coming. Lieutenant Dan's legs are here. Let me turn up my brightness a little so I can actually see. All right. I'm putting my shirt on here because, as usual, I'm almost late. I think I was like a minute late. Because, well, Deshana had a minor boat emergency again. I don't know, she plans this stuff. It's like, oh, Jaimie's gonna do a thing. So like 10 minutes before, I need to have a boat emergency so I can go crazy. And then, anyway, that was ridiculous, but I think everything's fine. You guys are okay, right? Yeah, I think everything's fine. All right, so a few people are here. Well, I did say at the beginning, if you're watching this after the fact, fast forward to, hold on, mosquito. Fast forward to 2 minutes in, so maybe I'll actually wait till 2 minutes, which is 10 more seconds. Oh, Andy says the picture's not good. Is the picture no good? Do I have crappy signal here? Do I have garbage internet? Is this how I'm starting the new year with crappy signal? I don't think anything else is on. Do you ever see Crocs or Gators? Lieutenant Dan's legs. Well, I saw one with your legs in it once. Now they're caimans here, just like little. I don't know, are they crocodiles or alligators? I don't know. They're caimans. They're little guys, not big enough that they would attack someone like me, but they might go after a little kid or something. But don't see them very often. I think I've only seen like one the whole time I've been here. My neighbor had one, like in her canal for a while. I don't know if it's still there. Hey, how's the picture doing here? Andy tells me the picture is not good. Is my picture terrible? I'm trying not to move too much. I know the lighting isn't great. I said I would try to set up like a better like a background somewhere where I could do these videos, but I've just been busy doing other stuff because there's more important things to do, I guess. But I'll get on that when I get a rainy day and other things aren't going on. Let's see. Ray Bacon says backdrop. Yeah, backdrop. I'll get a backdrop eventually. Okay, I'm just gonna presume that the pictures, everything is okay. So I'm just gonna start yabber blabbing with my usual morning monologue. Still morning, right? It's morning here, 11 o'clock. So right now my legs are a little tired, although I'm mostly recovered now. But 2 or 3 days ago, something like that. I'm just gonna say 2 days ago. I'm not sure what day it was. I got in my pedal boat and I was going to town because the weather said it was going to be super sunny. You know, in the weather report it had double suns, which means clear day, super sunny. And then I'm always like, well, if it's calling for totally sunny, even if it's only like half right, I'm going to get enough sun to power my boat pretty well. So I got in my boat at 8 o'clock thinking I'm going to cruise to town with some nice sun on my solar panels because my boat is a pedal boat with solar panels and a motor. No batteries or anything. It just runs directly off whatever sun's coming in. So I start driving and I'm like, wow, it's kind of cloudy. It's actually really cloudy. And I'm like, well, let's just keep going. And the thing is, once I get in the boat and start going, I almost never turn back. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to go. And there was almost no sun the whole day. I mean, there was enough sun to see, but not enough sun to like power my motor. And there were maybe a few minutes here and there when the sun peeked through the clouds and I got a little bit of help. But for the most part, I was just pedaling hard. And it was windy and wavy, which is also not in the weather forecast. I just saw a bug. And it was pretty tiring getting there. So I got there and did all my stuff and got back in my pedal boat thinking, oh, hopefully the sun comes out in the afternoon, like the weather forecast said, even though it was wrong about the morning, no sun all the way back either. And the waves got worse and the wind got worse, and I was just, fighting through this storm with no sun help, just pedaling. And I made it, and everything was fine. And when I got close to the end, I pedaled really hard and went really fast too, because I kind of like to finish with a nice hard part. Of course, before that, I have to kind of conserve my energy, so I make sure I can actually make it. And a lot of times when people hear about how I do things like that, they say, "Oh, well, here's how you fix it. You get a gas motor, or you get more batteries, or there's a thing you can do to fix it because you were struggling and had difficulty. There's got to be something you can do to make it better." Except I don't think it's one of those things that needs to be made better. I think it's actually incredibly valuable to have points in your life where you are at risk of having to put forth a great effort. Because I don't know what it took. Maybe 8 hours round trip of pretty hard pedaling. Now, when I just do exercises on my own, I'm not going to do 8 hours of that hard pedaling. And I was even thinking about that, like on the way back, like halfway back, I was like, oh man, if I was just exercising on my own, I would definitely stop here. But I've got 2 more hours of hard pedaling to go. And that means I'm pushing myself like further into this discomfort zone, further into the exercising discomfort zone than I would normally choose to do myself. And, even if I knew that that's what the weather was going to be, I wouldn't have gone that day. So putting myself at some risk of, some risk of being in a difficult situation actually puts me in a situation where I end up putting forth a much greater effort exercise-wise than I would normally choose to do. And I think that's a really valuable thing to have in your life. Sorry, I keep poking there's a couple ants on the floor over here, and I'm just poking them. There's another one. I'll have to check where they're coming from later. But anyway, it's really beneficial to have in your life something that forces you to push yourself harder than you would choose to push yourself. And this is something that was part of our lives for most of human history. It's just a pretty recent thing that people never have that experience. So that's something I don't ever want to fix. Like I want to always have that possibility that every few weeks or every month or so, I'm going to end up in a situation, even if it's only a few times a year, like I'll end up in a situation where I really have to, dig deep and push hard to get through and make something work. And this kind of goes back to a question that someone asked a while ago, which was, Jaimie, how do you stay young? I mean, besides the hair on top of my head, which is all gone, other than that, I haven't really experienced any age degradation. I mean, nothing significant, nothing noticeable, right? And I think a lot of that has to do. Mosquito. I think a lot of that has to do with these intermittent, like extreme exertion things. And because when you exercise, it keeps you strong and healthy for longer into your old age. And then and kind of the more you do that, within reason, you don't want to get injured ever. You don't want to get injured and wreck yourself. But within reason, is the more you do that, kind of the stronger and healthier you stay for a longer period of time. And particularly as we age, one of the things we kind of let go of is that daredevil instinct to push ourselves as hard. And as you get older and life kind of gets more comfortable, it's easier to sit back and say, I don't need to push myself as hard as I used to. So I really enjoy having some aspect of my life where I put myself in a position where I may be forced to push myself harder than I really feel like it. Okay, now other than that, it's a new year. This is number 1 of January, for January 1st, right? I'm pretty sure it is. And I didn't do anything particular for New Year's, although I did hear some firecrackers going off. So I was awake at midnight because I went to sleep like at 11, and then and my daughter, who was 2 years old, she got up. She's like, "Ah, what's that noise?" And came and snuggled with me. And I was like, "Ah, it's just firecrackers outside because people are celebrating the new year," and explained it to her. And she's like, "Oh, okay." And then just went to sleep right here. So it's so nice having little kids who go to sleep on you. It's so cute and snuggly. Um, so so this year, I don't normally do like New Year's resolutions or anything, but if I'm thinking about doing something and it's kind of close to New Year's, I'll be like, all right, let's just make that a New Year's resolution. So it would be a little bit hard to explain specifically, but I know what it is in my head. So basically, this year, my New Year's resolution is to kick more butt. Kick more butt, you know? And one of the specific things is I'm going to socialize more. And I've already started that a little more. You know, I'm just putting a little more effort into being social. Not that I'm super antisocial, but you know, my lifestyle is like I live on an island in the ocean. Like it's pretty easy to not socialize. It's kind of like the default. So I'm starting to put a little more effort into socializing, partly because you know I've got enough things finished around here that I can relax a little bit, and I feel like I can actually socialize. Whereas before, like when I was building my house, if someone started a conversation with me, I'd be like, can't talk, gotta work, can't talk, gotta work, go, go, go. But now, you know, things are a little more relaxed. I still have tons of work to do and stuff, but I feel like I can stop and have a conversation with people, you know, and meet new people and do stuff. And that's one of the things. I wanna meet some more people. I wanna get some more good people in my life. Because I'm building this village here. And I just recently had this conversation with my neighbor who has recently become part of this village, and he was saying, yeah, don't call it a community because then everyone thinks commune. Call it a village, because when people hear village, then they think hard work. But when they hear community, it's like this magical place where they're just going to go have fun. I think I get what he's saying. So from now on, when I talk about what I'm trying to kind of grow and set up here, I'm not going to call it a community anymore. Even though it is a community, I'm going to call it a village. So I'm building a village, but I'm not owning the village or anything. It's just, you know, neighbors. I want to have more good neighbors. So yeah, I want to start socializing more, getting just meeting more people and interacting with more people, and hopefully meet some people here and there who might actually want to move here and be part of our little village here, which is pretty cool. It's really nice having a few neighbors that are people that oh, there's that mosquito. Oh, get over here. You know, it's really nice having neighbors that I like, who take care of themselves, which is a huge thing. So nice when you have neighbors who take care of themselves, and then also do creative things, and we can collaborate and talk about things. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. You know, it's just like, you know, when you talk to people on YouTube and you watch videos of someone who's doing cool things, and you're like, oh yeah, I like to do cool things too. And like you get to talk with someone who's like interested in like building stuff or exercising or whatever you're into, you know. And it's even better when you actually have people like that, like in real life, as neighbors. Why is this mosquito just buzzing around? Oh, I think I got him. Oh, I totally got him. Yes, mosquito death. Okay, so yeah, I want to start socializing more, and hopefully meet some more people who want to become part of this village and contribute in some cool way. Not contribute like give people stuff or anything. Just become part of a cool village, part of a cool community. And other than that, you know, I want to meet just more cool people who may not necessarily want to live here or anything. Just people to collaborate with and share ideas and maybe hang out from time to time. And then of course I also want to meet a girlfriend at some point. That would also be nice. So just in general, I'm working on socializing more, and I think it's going well. I haven't done a super ton different, but I went to town the other day when I pedaled there. Even though I was pretty exhausted from all the pedaling there, you know, I put a little more effort into saying hi to people and talking to people just kind of randomly, and I think it's going well. And now I'm actually thinking I need to start some kind of club. Well, actually, the first thing that just made me think of is, why don't I just start an actual physical adventure builders club? But I don't know if I'd want to do that. I mean, maybe I'll think about it. But I feel like I should do some kind of not drinking the Kool-Aid kind of club, because you know the adventure builders club is more of an ideology, not an actual physical club. So I'm thinking maybe I should start some kind of club. Like if I was on land, I would probably just start a running club, but I'm not on land. So I got to think about what kind of club I could start, and get some people involved in something, maybe something to do with camping or I don't know, hiking or something, or wilderness stuff. But so that's what's going on with me. That's what I've been thinking about. This year I want to kick more butt and do a good job. And I've also been talking to Deshana about this, and we've kind of been talking a lot about how we can work together better to kind of further our goals of having self-sufficient life here that's positive and happy, and build a village and all that, and just get all this stuff. We're trying to work together more. Not that we don't ever work together, but we kind of do our separate things, and sometimes it kind of interferes with the other person a little bit. But we're trying to get more on the same page and kind of work together toward the same kind of goals. All right, so let's see what you guys are talking about here. What do I got here? Do I see crocs or gators? Yeah, we have these little caimans. They're like little alligators or crocodiles. I don't know which they're like, but whatever caimans are. It has been better, but it's fine. He's talking about the video. I don't know. I don't know. I can't do anything about the internet connection right now. So hopefully it's going fine. Hey, Jaimie. Oh, Jordan Bacon. I love your name. It is delicious. Okay, you've inspired me a lot. I'm 20, and life got pretty lonely when I didn't follow my peers' way of living. Yeah, I totally know what you're talking about. And it helped me a lot. Stumbling across your channel. Thank you so much. Oh, that is beautiful. Thank you for telling me. Yeah. I'm just going to elaborate. I know there wasn't a question there or anything, but same for me. When I was younger and I decided that I was just going to go off the track that everyone I knew was pushing me down, and I was being pushed pretty hard down this track. I was a big athlete, and I was going to an Ivy League school, and everything was like narrower and narrower. You're going to care all about money. You're going to make money. You're going to make money. You're going to be like the alpha male. Yeah, the idea of an alpha male today is just this superficial nonsense thing. I actually made a video about that recently. Maybe I'll upload it. I wasn't sure if I should, but maybe I will. Sometimes I make these videos where I'll talk to the camera for like 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes even. Sometimes I just erase them. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of those that I've just erased. I'm like, maybe I just don't want to get into that, because it'll always upset someone. But anyway, yeah, I mean, when I made the decision to stop doing what everyone else wanted me to do and start doing what I thought was right, yeah, totally lonely. I know exactly what you're talking about. And that was one of the big reasons I started doing these videos, was to connect with people like that, and to maybe, help inspire people who were in the same situation I was. So that is beautiful to hear. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. That's awesome. Oh, Aircrete Harry says, oh, Aircrete Harry. Yeah, I watched your video about making the dome. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Sometimes I have dreams of having a concrete or aircrete or whatever sprayer that just magically refills itself. And it's just like it's just like and it's just like magic, all the materials get here. Because, I mean, a lot of times people watch videos of someone spraying mortar, concrete, cementy kind of stuff, and you don't see all the work that goes into getting the materials there and getting all that set up before you actually do the psh. So I often get the advice of just get a concrete sprayer, but like actually applying the concrete to something here is like hardly any of the work. Almost all the work is getting the materials here. But anyway, yeah, I saw your inflated Tyvek dome thing video. Oh yeah, Happy New Year. Did you get to see my Tyvek dome airform yet? Yes, I sent you an email. Yeah, I totally saw it. It's pretty cool. I don't feel inspired to do that, but it was pretty cool. I like it. Yeah, it's good. Ray Bacon says burnout. Oh man, what was I talking about? Well, you don't want to burn out your bacon, of course, because it's delicious before it gets burned, and then you burn the bacon, man, it's just like, I ruined it. So Ray Bacon may be talking about burnout. Oh, are you talking about burnout in terms of exercise? Yeah, that's kind of why it's good to have this intermittent thing where you really need to like dig deeper than normal. So like, so I've had a fair amount of experience, and I'm not even sure if this is what you're talking about, but I'm going to talk about how I understand burnout. So I ran track and field for a long time, and there was always this concern of burnout. And occasionally you'd see someone who was like amazing for a couple of years, and then their performances dropped off, and it was always like, they burnt out, they got burnout. And one of the ways you can avoid burnout might be a little counterintuitive. Usually they say, you got to cut back, you got to come back from the hard work, because you go up and you stay at this high level of hard work. It's hard to stay there. You kind of start dipping down, you can't keep it up, and you start burning out. The one thing you can do is every once in a while do something just insanely difficult. So if this is your comfort level down here at the bottom, and here's your hard training level, and it's you're basically pushing yourself up and trying to keep that up. If every once in a while you just like do something really crazy hard, then it kind of resets your comfort zone, and you get maybe a little, like maybe you can then accept something a little more uncomfortable than your hard training, and you kind of get used to that a little bit. So it makes it easier to stay at that level. Because anytime you want to try to stay at a level, it really makes it easier if you go beyond that level once in a while, just to reset what your body and your like stuff thinks is the acceptable level. Tomaters must be on new time schedule. Yeah, Tomaters comes an hour late now. Hello, watching from New Jersey. Hey, New Jersey. I've been in New Jersey a lot. I used to have a good friend in New Jersey, and I would visit her every time I drove. Well, a couple times. Yeah, sometimes when I drive through there. Anyway. Yes, your sunless trip. Yeah. So my sunless trip was just a couple days ago. Okay. White Merchant Flower says, definitely upload the alpha male video, Jaimie. All right. No, we want to see it. Okay. I know like if I say like I have a whole bunch of videos that I haven't uploaded, like a bunch of people are going to say, just upload them. Let's see them. I'll upload that one. I think it's fine. There was one that was kind of related that I did just before that, although I think it's kind of covered in the second one. So I'll probably skip the first one, just do the second one. Basically, it's just, I don't know, I'll upload it. Well, maybe I'll give you a very brief summary, but then I'll upload it. So the very brief summary is basically, there's all these alpha male guys and dudes trying to tell men how to be better men, and they're always telling you how to climb up this dominance hierarchy where you're supposed to get in there and force your way up. But I think there's a more important dominance hierarchy, which is a competence hierarchy. And people in the competence hierarchy, they receive a lot of attention. They like when you're high up on the competence hierarchy, you get a lot of attention when people need stuff done. So when times are difficult, but then when times get easy, people don't care about competent people that much, and they kind of look down on them, and then they just care about whoever's taking the most, and that's this superficial dominance hierarchy we hear about now, where it's like you gotta climb your way to the top and take as much as you can, kind of thing. Get as many cars and whatever. Except when you have too many people doing that, there aren't enough competent people keeping everything going, and that's why our civilization is kind of cratering right now. Okay, but yeah, I go into more detail. No, we want to see it. I can't get out of the system because I have to take care of my elderly parents. I can't just run off to an island. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to take apart in that sentence. Yeah, I mean you basically have to decide for yourself what is the priority, what is acceptable. For me, I don't want to crap on my parents or anything, but they kind of made it easy for me because I'm not taking care of my parents. I don't know if any of them are watching right now. Sorry, I'm just not taking care of you. You can take care of yourself. And I'm not arguing about it. I mean, I would like to, but yeah, that's not going to happen. All right. Did I actually get to the end of comments already? That's weird. Is it just not showing comments, or is that it? Are people quiet today? Is it the new year and people are thinking, for my New Year's resolution, I'm gonna talk less? Possibly. All right. Well, let's talk about this this I can't get out of the system because I have to take care of my elderly parents. I can't just run off to an island. First, I personally didn't just run off to an island. There was no just, that makes it sound like it was really easy. It was a lot of hard work, and I had to take care of a lot of responsibilities before I could even leave to go. And then, I mean, I had kids to take care of, and my brother actually uses his kids as one of his excuses. I mean, I think he just doesn't want to live this kind of life, but it would be just as easy to say, I can't go off and do this thing because I have kids. And I'm not saying, I'm not trying to diminish your responsibility to your elderly parents, but it's, and again, it's really difficult to say anything about that situation, knowing basically nothing about the situation. But one thing I've learned in life is that whenever a situation seems impossible, there's always something that makes it not impossible, where you just have to see things from a different perspective, or maybe change the way you look at something, or change one of the parameters of what's good. So maybe just running off to an island isn't even what you'd want to do anyway. Maybe break down your life into its most basic components, and then maybe you can figure out what you really care about and what you really want to do, and how your parents can fit into that. But of course, there's a very limited amount that I can say about that without being insulting. So I apologize if any of that comes off as insulting. I really don't know your situation, but I don't know. That might be relevant. People were really confused about your sawmill in the comments. Oh, really? Okay. People are confused. Well, the sawmill should become less confusing as things progress. But basically, should I get a thing and draw it? Should I just, let me get a paper. I'll draw it. Oh, all right, paper. Oh, I love that. Isn't that great? Oh, yeah. Speaking of bacon, okay. Let's find a blank piece of paper while I make some burps. Oh, schematics for an inverter. I should make that at some point. Okay, here we go. All right, so what I've got so far on my lumber mill is, how do I draw this? Okay. Oh, this is a terrible drawing. Okay, so basically what I've made so far, and I think I have one more video that I have to upload about it. So I've got a motor here, and it's got a shaft that goes to a blade, right? Like, that's all I'm making so far. And then I just attached this housing here between the bearings that hold the shaft straight and the motor. And right here, there's going to be a pivot point. So this whole thing can turn that way or that way. So right now, it would make a vertical cut. And if it rotates up, good drawing, dude. Then it would make a horizontal cut. And so this is the part I'm working on so far. Now this whole thing has to be connected to, let's start a new drawing here. I can do the new drawing while I'm showing it. All right. Okay. How do we start this? There's gonna be a track, right? Let's just say it's a couple pipes. And then on that pipe, there's going to be some little wheels and some kind of big frame that goes up on it. And that whole frame can roll down this track, right? So I can put a log in here. Oh man, these terrible logs. Yeah, that's just bark lines. Okay, so I can put a log in here, and this frame can drive over the whole log. Now this thing attaches to another frame that's kind of in here, and this piece can move up and down. So I can adjust the height that I'm cutting through the log, and then this thing attaches in here, and let's say it's kind of in here like this, and it's got the blade, and then the motor sticks out there or whatever. So the motor's here, the blade's there, it's attached to this thing, which is attached to that thing, and this whole thing rolls down the log, and as it's rolling down the log, this can make a cut down the log. And then this swivels up, and then the blade, instead of cutting like that, the blade cuts like this, and the motor's sticking up like this. And then it can, so, we get one cut down like this, and then we get another cut, a horizontal cut, and then we can take a chunk out. And we keep making cuts like that, and then, you basically make a grid of cuts in this, turning it all into 2x4s or 4x6s or whatever I want to cut. And that's pretty much it. Maybe someone can elaborate on what the confusion is, or if that explains it. People are really confused about your sawmill in the comments. Hello, sir. I hope your new year is a great one. I hope so too. I hope everyone has a great new year. Can you show how it's going to work? Hopefully that explained it. I don't understand the need to pivot the cutting blade. Okay, hopefully I explained that. So you can cut this way and then come back and cut this way. Look up swing mill or swing blade lumber mill, and that will explain it. And just watch a video of one working. They're really cool because you just put the log there. Once you get the log in place, you don't have to move it anymore, which is nice because the log is like the heaviest part. You have 1,000 pounds of wood. It's nice to not have to shift it around and get it lined up and everything. You just get it lined up once, and then you do all your cuts. Pivoting the blade so it doesn't have to roll the log. Yes, exactly. I think dolphins invented cancer so they could have some people to swim with. Is that because when people die, they get thrown into the ocean? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Hey, it's Tomaters. Hi, guys. How you doing, man? What do you think about the U.S. economy? Oh, man. How long do you want this video to be? What advice can you give for us who are part of the system? Okay. I mean, this is something I've been talking about for a long time, and now, I mean, when I would talk about this 10 years ago, people would say, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. And then every once in a while, someone would be like, I don't know, Jaimie, are you just extrapolating, seeing ahead? And I'd be like, yeah. But now we're at the point where so many people are talking about it. I think I can talk about it more freely, and it's not such a crazy thing to say. So inflation's getting worse, right? I mean, I feel like everyone can kind of agree on that. Prices of everything is going up, kind of quality of life is going down as prices are going up, which doesn't make sense technologically speaking, because we have more technology. We're increasing our level of technology, but quality of life is going down. And this has a lot to do with, well, partly just the way we're using technology is kind of stupid, but largely because financial things. For instance, the United States just printed out an insane amount of money last year. Was it last year or the year before? Last year? I don't know. Printed out a huge amount of money. And I guess I'll explain the basic inflation problem. Say your country has $1 million. It doesn't matter what the number is. Say your country has $1 million. That's the total amount of money. That's the amount of money that can buy all the stuff, right? Now, say your country prints out another $1 million. Now you've got $2 million just out there. And now $2 million buys all the stuff, which means that pretty soon, it takes a little bit of time for this to all take effect, because it's not like as soon as you print the money, it instantly changes everything. But once people start buying, they start buying more than they could before because they have more money. So the prices have to level out so that people aren't running out of stock all the time. And pretty quickly, since you doubled the amount of money, it doubles the price of everything. Roughly, it actually often is worse than this, but I'm going to keep everything pretty simple. So, and the terrible thing about this is that when the government prints out $2 million or prints out another $1 million, they're not saying to everyone, how much money do you have right now? You have $10? Okay, here's another 10. Oh, you have $40,000? Okay, here's another 40,000. They're not giving everyone the money and just making it so there are more bills. The government is printing out all this money, which means they've just taken 50% of the value of the money. So they've just stolen half the money from people. And this is how a lot of governments have been just kind of like paying things off by, it's like the hardest way to defend someone stealing from you. It's basically impossible. Like if I'm sitting here with $100 and the government prints out twice as much money, or prints out these equal amount of money that we have, now my $100 is just worth $50, and there's nothing I can do about it other than go to the government and say, hey, give me some of the money you just printed out, because that's the value that's coming from my money. So anyway, the United States government printed out a huge amount of money, like an insane amount. It wasn't double, but a lot, which means inflation's going up. And some people say, oh, but there's no corresponding instant spike of inflation. There is no instant spike of inflation. It takes some time for the money to get out there and go through all the system, and then this person has to increase their costs, and then this person has to, but this person has to increase their costs because more people are buying, and because this person increased their costs. And that's the supplier. It's this big chain effect that takes a while to bounce around till everything stabilizes. But costs are going up, and I don't think anyone can really deny that. And it's not going to get better. It's not just going to stop. It's going to keep getting worse. And there are too many people. And I talked about this a little bit in the alpha male video I made. So I guess I'll have to upload that. And some people will be upset about it and angry, but whatever. It makes sense. And so the economy is going to keep getting worse. And people who are relying on money are going to have an increasingly difficult time. And the best advice I can give for how to deal with this, I mean, now that there are so many things we could have done in the past, but now that we're at this point and we're going in this direction, and there's momentum going in this direction, there's nothing in sight that's going to change it. It's just going to keep going and keep getting worse. Try to become less dependent on money, because whatever you could try to just make more money to try to keep up with the inflation, but it's a losing battle. It's like trying to swim up river. Like, get out of the river, start walking on the shore. So stop using money for everything. Start limiting what you rely on money for. So maybe that means starting to repair your own things, or build some of your own things. Like if you have a backyard, grow some food in it. I mean, you can. I've kind of said that my childhood wasn't great, but one of the really cool things, I mean, my parents weren't all horrible. They just, weren't that loving or anything, but they did a lot of cool things. And like, my mom always had this huge garden in the backyard and grew all these vegetables. And you can grow a lot in not that big a space. You can grow a lot of food. And the price of vegetables is going up and up and up. And if you can grow a bunch of your own vegetables, you're going to be much less dependent on money. And as things get more and more expensive, if you can reduce the amount you're dependent on money, you can keep the same rough lifestyle, where other people who are just relying on money are just going to be going downhill. And even worse if things get to a point where, it's like crashing, kind of like Venezuela did a few years ago. You can look up what happened there. But basically, they had a similar-ish situation to what we have now, where inflation got insane and like a loaf of bread cost like $40,000 or something. At that point, it was just like, we're screwed. You know, if things get that bad, the people who are growing their own food are going to be the only ones who are going to be like even sort of okay. All the other people are going to be like going crazy, and you know, it could get pretty violent and scary. So if there's any way you can just start doing more things for yourself, it will insulate you from being dragged down by all these financial schemes, all these Ponzi schemes and this crap. These people in these positions of power are doing. They're supposed to be in leadership positions, but you ever notice that they don't call it a leadership position anymore? Because the leaders of the world are not leading anyone. They call them positions of power now, because now they're just using their power to dominate other people and force people to do what they want and take everything. Which is not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a leadership position. And this is another reason why our society is going downhill, because you know, it's just on so many levels the wrong things are happening. You know, the people on this superficial dominance hierarchy are running everything, and the people on the competence hierarchy are just being pushed aside too much. Okay, and on that note, you know, if there's anyone out there who's been watching these videos and is thinking about maybe wanting to move here and, you know, join this little village we have, you know, come stay for a while until you can find some land to buy and then build your own house and set up your own. Yeah, there are mosquitoes. Just so you know, they're not usually in my house. But anyway, yeah, send me an email. My email should be down here, and you know, we can talk. I've helped a few people move here, and then like one guy's living on my land right now. He pays a little bit of rent, but it's like, I started charging rent because at first when people would come and stay, I was like, yeah, just stay on my land, you know, for free. Don't worry about it. And oh my gosh, don't let people stay on your land for free, because they don't value it. They just trash the place. So it's proven to be much better to charge a bit of rent, and it's not much, but it's something, and then they value it much more. But anyway, if anyone wants to come and maybe move to a place that's off grid, kind of out in the wilderness, you know, close enough to cities that you know, you can go get supplies and stuff, but far enough that you're kind of insulated from all the crap that comes from cities, you know, send me an email. We can talk about it, and maybe you want to come, and maybe you just want to, you know, think about it or whatever. Yeah, send me an email. And my email is theadventurebuildermovie@gmail.com. So it's down there. Originally, that was just an email to field questions about the Adventure Builder movie, which I made like a year ago-ish. But now it's just kind of become my email. Okay, what do you think about the U.S. economy? Advice for people who are in the system? Yeah. Tomater says, Sawmill is coming out great from what I have seen. I am really happy with the lumber mill part so far. And this isn't in the videos yet. I have to upload this part still. But I got that frame bolted into the motor and bolted to the bearings, and I turned it on. Oh, so nice. It's like, I mean, there's a little bit of vibration, but it's just like, oh, yeah, I turned it on and it was just like, you know when you have a machine that's just like, it's just running nice and smooth. Yeah, apparently I got everything lined up really well, and like I could take my, what do you call it? My triangle, I guess. Let me just draw it. My one of these. You know, I took my one of these and stood it on it, and it stood up without falling over because it was vibrating so little. So it seems to be running really, really smooth and really nice, and the frame seems really strong. You know, if I get the blade on there, it should be. I haven't turned it on with the blade on because it's a little bit scary, but I'm planning on doing that soon, maybe after I finish this video. Ben Hansen says, Happy New Year, Jaimie and family. I've been watching you a long time and was sometimes frustrated at how fast you seem to get things done. Really? Because I feel like they take forever a lot of times. Oh, it's hard to realize the power of a couple hours at a time. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, this is actually something I kind of talk about a lot, you know, like building my house took a year, which doesn't, yeah, working on something like really hard for a year, when you're at like the halfway point, it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm only at the halfway point, and it seems like I'm making like almost no progress. Like I'm making, let's see, like 1/4% progress every day. So it's like, but you're right, you know, you keep working on something and some time goes by. And now at this point I look back and it's just like, yeah, my house is here. I remember it being a lot of hard work and it took a year, but I mean, yeah, you just keep plugging away at stuff and they get done. They happen. Social groups are the same way to get into an interesting project and people start showing up a couple hours at a time. Yeah. So I definitely want to get some kind of socializing group thing going more. You know, I used to have, this wasn't like a regular thing or anything, but I used to have every year adventure builder meetings at my house in Vermont. Maybe I'll start that again this year. They were always on like the week of my birthday. So it would be like the weekend before my birthday, the week of my birthday, and then the week after. And some people would come like for the weekend, some people would come camp for the whole week. And I met really cool people doing that. I haven't done that here, partly because here is not as easy to get to as my place in Vermont was, but it's a beautiful place. So yeah, maybe I should do that and have, you know, May 3rd is my birthday. Maybe this May 3rd, I should reinitiate yearly adventure builder meetings, and people can come and stay for a weekend or a week or whatever they want, and just hang out and make some stuff or talk and whatever. But yeah, other than that, I want to get some more regular social meetings, groups, things going where we do something. I recently started building an airplane. Oh my gosh. And had to remind myself that it's a couple hours at a time. So you're probably having the same experience I'm having with the lumber mill, because, you know, I've been working on the lumber mill for like a week and all I have is that one part, and there's a huge amount of other stuff. But I'm going through it like very deliberately and slowly, making sure I get every part done right at a time. And I imagine when you're building an airplane, you really need to make sure you get every part done right as you go. So yeah, definitely don't rush that. That is really cool though. Ben, I would love to see pictures or video or anything about the airplane you're building. Like, do you have the design? Can you email me something? Or do you have a YouTube channel or something? I'm sure a lot of people here, like if you have a YouTube channel or something, I'm sure a lot of people here would want to see it. Or even some Instagram pictures or something. Yeah, I would love to see what you're doing with an airplane. And because that's something, you know, I want to build an airplane at some point. I'm not at that point where I can do it. These comments are length limited, so hence many comments, little bit at a time. Yeah. Toby says, hello, Jaimie and family. Hello, Toby. I hope you're having an excellent year. Just started, not much that can go wrong so far. Oh yeah. Yeah, so far my year's going pretty well, except for a minor boating incident this morning. Shayna had a problem with her boat where she kind of made a mistake and was like, Jaimie, come fix it. And I was like, what? And it was like too late and something crashed and broke. And I was like, ah. But other than that, it's fine. And I think that's hopefully worked out fine. I work about 30 minutes and take about 2-hour break and only work 4 shifts a day. Yeah, you can get a surprising amount done doing like 30 minutes at a time, 4 times a day. Partly because, you know, when you work steadily on something, you end up spending a lot of the time thinking, particularly, you know, if you're working on something that's complicated, you have to figure out. So sometimes I do that exact same thing when I'm working on like a kind of a difficult project. Like I'll work for like half an hour on something, and then for a couple hours I'll go do something else. But then it's always rolling around in the back of my head, so that when I come back to it, I'm really productive because I've kind of figured out some of the difficulties and the problems. Glad the government sends the money every month. Good thing. Oh, I think there would be better Wi-Fi on Mars. Is my signal terrible now? Yeah, sorry, man. We need to be ready for industrial collapse. Yeah, I mean, Champ that's Champ who just said that. So, you don't have to be expecting the industrial world to collapse or the financial world to collapse to be prepared for it. And a lot of times people say, "Oh, why are you getting ready for that? You're expecting some big conspiracy theory, terrible thing to destroy everything, whatever." But like, what's the downside of being prepared? Like, say I'm preparing for some terrible financial decline. And I think a lot of these things aren't like a crisis. It's not going to just explode. It's just going to slowly get worse and worse. So say I'm preparing for some terrible financial decline and just a decline in the system and all that. And I do all these things. I build a house. I become self-sufficient. I start growing my own food. And, I make boats that don't rely on gasoline. And I basically make my life set up so I can operate even in a post-apocalyptic world. Well, if it all goes to crap, then I'm going to be in a really good position relative to a lot of other people. And if it doesn't all go to crap and everything is fine. I didn't really lose anything by doing that stuff. It's an interesting thing to do, even if it ends up that I'm preparing for nothing. So, yeah, I mean, prepare for the future. What's that saying? Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. It's a really good way to deal with things. Speaking of inflation, have you checked your Bitcoin address recently, Jaimie? I've checked the Bitcoin price recently. I have not checked my actual Bitcoin wallet thing. Do I need to go do that? Did someone send me some Bitcoin? I'm going to go. Well, I'll go do that after this. Let me write that down. Jaimie. Check Bitcoin. If someone sent me some Bitcoin, that'd be amazing. Thank you. I haven't really, done anything with mine recently because it's down. So I've just kind of been ignoring it, I guess. Crime is going to go up too. Yes, crime is basically when your civilization is in decline, crime goes up. Houses are overpriced. Yes, they are. Rent went up as well. Yeah, I mean, everything. That's the thing. I mean, a lot of people don't realize how bad this situation is right now. Like, it's already bad. Like, a lot of people have lost their homes. People are struggling to get by where they didn't, like 20 years ago. Or when I was a kid, like, life was much, I guess, easier. Things. I keep seeing more and more people struggle as time goes by, and when you have a trend like that and it's consistently going in a direction for a long period of time, you can kind of count on it continuing to go in that direction. And people are getting more desperate. As they get more desperate, crime's going to get worse. People are going to be, when you're having difficulty feeding your kids, people are going to be tempted to do some not so savory things. Because, I rely too much on electricity and non-salt water to move to an island in the ocean. Well, that's not true. You could have electricity and fresh water, but I'm saying it's a decision. No one has to move to an island in the ocean. And the other thing is, like, if you want to insulate yourself from the system, you don't have to do what I did. Like, I moved to an island partly because I love the ocean and I love boats and I love just the space of being out in the water. It's a beautiful thing to me. I love the sunrises and the sunsets over the water. I love fishing and all. I love all this stuff. But you can move off grid anywhere, in the mountains and in the desert, wherever speaks to you. Most of my equipment would just die. Oh, you're talking about salt water and electricity. Well, I have lots of equipment here that's sensitive to salt water. Although I don't know what your equipment is. You might be talking about outdoor equipment that you really would not want to get in the salt water. Although, I mean, if you're on a piece of land, it's not like the salt water comes up on the land unless you're in a place that gets really stormy and has lots of ocean spray and stuff. But whatever. Like I said, if you have stuff that that doesn't work on an island. You don't want to be on an island. Obviously, don't be on an island. One guy, one house, 1 year. That's fast. Is that fast? Yeah, maybe that is fast. And it's a pretty cool house. I mean, I've built houses before that were like, took weeks to build, but they were like always out of wood. Wood's so easy to build with. I mean, if I built this house out of wood, I could have done it in less than a month. But building with the concrete and the styrocrete takes a lot longer at the beginning, but it should outlast anything wood by a huge amount. And presuming I did a decent job on it, this house will be here for my great grandkids, which is the plan. That's what one of the things I was saying was to insulate yourself from the financial disasters and stuff, kind of make yourself less dependent on money. And one of the ways you make yourself less dependent on money is set up things in your life that don't need maintenance, that don't need to constantly be replaced. For instance, a wood house. A wood house is going to last a certain amount of time, and then you start having to deal with wood rot and termites and stuff like that. And I know there are like 100-year-old wood houses around. I totally get that. There are also 1,000-year-old stone houses around. So. THID, Classic Dude Mike. What is THID? This house is done? My house isn't done. I don't know. This weekly Sunday thing is an adventure builder meeting. It is. You're right. Classic Dude Mike. This is an adventure builder meeting. And I also, so I'm going to continue doing these, but I also want to start having more like in person, like real life activities with people in real life. I do a lot of thinking. Tomaters. Yes, that's good. Let's see. Your balance, I don't know. Oh, DRMR, are you telling me how much Bitcoin you have? You're not telling me how much Bitcoin I have, because unless you sent that to me. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. DRMR, can you explain? Did you send me 2 Bitcoin? That would be insane. I mean, amazing, but hi, Jaimie. Bad kitty. Oh, bad kitty. Happy New Year to all of you. Sadie Dutcher. Geez, ruined the surprise, dude. Did someone actually send me 2 Bitcoin? That's crazy. Now I'm gonna be thinking that, and I'm gonna check and be like, oh, there's nothing there. But if there is something there, that'd be pretty sweet. The problem with competence hierarchies, let's hear it, is that you have to be competent to appreciate competence. Yes, that's true. Well, actually, not necessarily. You have to either be, to truly appreciate like everything about competence, yes, you have to be competent. But to appreciate it to the degree that you value it highly, you either need to be competent yourself or you need competence. So like when a civilization is being built, when times are hard, when things are difficult, people look to competent people. Like when settlers came, and let's ignore the whole, massacring Indians thing. Let's just move past that. That's a whole other topic. But when settlers came to North America, they weren't looking to leaders who were like flashy and had a cool car, not the cars back then, but that kind of thing, who wore the fancy suit. No, people were looking to whoever could solve the problem, whoever could figure out how to grow more food, who could build houses. That's the leaders they were looking for, because that was what they needed. Because when you have kids who don't have enough food, you do not care about some flashy guy in a suit saying, I'm going to come take care of all your problems. Yeah, no problem. No, you want like a farmer. And you do not care about the flashy guy. When your kids are hungry, you want a frickin' farmer. That's who you want telling people what to do and figuring stuff out. Who is the best farmer? Because at that point, all the social nonsense goes out the window. And it's the same thing with all these weird social justice things we have going on today. Bill Burr makes a hilarious. Oh, I love Bill Burr. And I actually remembered his name. Usually when I start talking to him, I'm like, what's that guy's name? Yeah, Bill Burr. he told a hilarious thing about feminism. Feminism today has nothing to do with, women being empowered and being able to do things. It's kind of become this man-hating thing where women need to get stuff all the time. But he makes this hilarious joke about there are no feminists in a house fire. When there's a house fire, the feminists are like, men, you get in there. We're getting out of the way. I'm just a girl. Anyway, but there's all kinds of silly social things like that as soon as people really are desperate and need to get things done, all that goes out the window. And it's like, no, we need competent people. Let's see, you have to be competent to appreciate competence. If others are more competent than you, how do you know how much? Also, humility is a prerequisite. Yes, humility is a huge prerequisite. And that's something that comes with being in a difficult situation. Like you're in a situation where you can't feed your kids. Arrogance goes out the window too. It's like, okay, I don't care how amazing. I just need to do whatever I need to do to feed my kids. I will ask anyone, please help. Anyone can help. You like when times get hard and you really need to do a good job to survive, that's when competence becomes important and all that other nonsense goes away. And, people stop saying, oh, confidence is the best thing when you're arrogant. You get all the girls and all that stuff. All that disappears as soon as people need competent people. Have any of your golf cart batteries ever died? Well, they don't really die. They just kind of like slowly get worse but yeah, there are some that I'm not using. Since you don't throw anything away, I assume you would refurbish them. Does that require some nasty chemicals or something? Well, I haven't actually refurbished any lead acid batteries yet. However, I saw one guy did it with like pickling salt. Like he basically pickled the battery, like turned the lead plates into pickles, kind of. I mean, not literally turned them into pickles, but he put pickling salt into the battery and it started working again. Better than it was with the acid in there. And yeah, when at some point I want to start doing some stuff with that, because I do have some batteries right now that are pretty much dead and I would like to refurbish them. But it's not at the top of my priority list yet because I've got some other things before that. I got to grow more food. I've got this bridge that's going really well, and the spot up here that I'm digging out, and a guest house, and the power system for the lumber mill. Then I get to get the lumber mill to cut the wood for my upper floors, because I still have, my whole house of stuff is just on my first floor. So it'll be really nice to get everything where it goes. So. But at some point, I do want to get to dealing with old dead batteries. Ian, Happy New Year. No, I meant, oh, great. DRMR, yeah, I totally misunderstood what you were saying before. No, I meant like sensitive electronics, music equipment, etc. Oh, you're talking about that stuff. Well, sensitive electronic equipment, you just keep it inside. Like I have electronics here that are fine. As long as, you make sure you don't come in from swimming and drip all over stuff. And one of the things with electronics, if you're in a humid environment, and we learned this, was it 2 weeks ago or last week, when I turned this tablet on and the camera over here was all foggy. It's because I hadn't turned the tablet on for like a week. So if you're in a humid environment, it's good to make sure you turn your stuff on regularly, because it'll heat itself up and dry out the moisture on the inside. And yeah, so I've made sure that I use my tablet at least once a day for something, and I haven't had any more fogging issues. Okay, collapse now. Avoid the rush. If you collapse now and something fails you, you always have recourse. If you wait and your self-sufficiency learning processes fail, yeah, so yeah, Lauren Booker makes a good point. So if we're in a situation where the system is collapsing, if you kind of wait it out till the end, you're going to end up in a really difficult position. And it's going to keep getting worse. So a lot of times people think, well, now's not the time to change my lifestyle because things are kind of difficult. It's hard to pay my rent. Things are going to keep getting worse and worse. And like a year from now, 5 years from now, you're going to look back at now and say, oh, I should have done it back then because things were way easier. So yeah, the best time to get out of a failing system is right now, as soon as you can. You know, yesterday would have been better, but since yesterday has already happened, right now, do it as soon as you can. Maybe, and maybe you can't grab all your stuff and just bug out right now, but work toward it. Like start working toward it as soon as you can, and try to become less reliant on the system as soon as you can before you get to the point where you are totally screwed and lose any ability to have any control over your own life, where you're just suffering and stuck. Like while you still have some ability to buy things, and maybe you could sell your house for, I mean, if you have a house right now, I mean, someone was saying earlier, housing prices are so inflated. Sell your house, man. Take the money and go buy some land somewhere. It's going to be a way better way to do it than waiting till housing prices collapse and the inflation gets so bad that now your house is worth nothing, your money is worth nothing, and you're just stuck. So if you think, like I do, that kind of the whole system is on a downward spiral, get out as soon as you can. Like make the move or start making moves to get there as soon as you can. DRMR, my Bitcoin balance. How do you know my Bitcoin balance? Or are you saying that's what's been added? Can you see my Bitcoin balance in my own thing? So you can see mine. I don't know. Can you see everyone else's Bitcoin? I don't know. Well, that's pretty awesome if someone sent me Bitcoin and now I have 2 of them. That's amazing. Well, thank you. How do you check other people's Bitcoin? I don't really want to know. But yeah. Oh, the Bitcoin was sent a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I haven't checked it in a few weeks. Probably like a month. Well, I better go check it. Well, thank you, whoever did that. Are you planning to move the saw on a carriage or have the saw solid and move the wood? Okay, let's go back to my sawmill drawing here. So this is a very crappy sketch of my lumber mill that I'm building. It's got I don't know what the track's going to look like. Right now I've just got some pipes and this will have wheels there. So the log will sit there in the middle and stay put. And this whole thing up here will be like a big rolling thing with the saw attached. So that will roll along the log and make the cuts. And then I'll flip the blade the other direction and make the cut back. And yeah, so the log stays stationary and the blade moves. And there are a few reasons for that. One is the log is a lot heavier. It's just bigger. It's harder to move. And another reason is that, besides it just being heavier to move, if I'm moving the heavier piece, if it gets stuck in the blade for some reason, it's more likely to bend something. Whereas if I'm moving the lighter piece, if the blade gets stuck for some reason and the whole thing has to stop, it's much less likely to damage something if I'm moving the lighter piece and the heavier piece is staying stationary. DRMR is being yelled at by Jimmy. Oh. I just read the balance on the blockchain. Huh. Well, I need to go check my Bitcoin, I guess. He can get that thing he could really use right now. What is that thing I could really use right now? Wait, what is that thing I could really use right now? Oh, there's a bunch of stuff I could really use right now. Yes, that is true. I will be able to do a lot with like 2 Bitcoin. That's kind of a huge amount of funds. Maybe. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to go check it out and figure out what to do. Because I do feel kind of like I should. Well, one thing I've been thinking about doing lately, and this kind of goes back to, how to prepare for the apocalypse, or, apocalypse is always a big word, but, just to prepare for the decline, the agonizingly slow decline, is I wanted to buy a bunch of like marine grade aluminum sheet metal and a bunch of stainless steel pipes and stuff like that, because that's stuff that won't degrade in value. Even if inflation gets really bad, your dollars lose value. If I have a sheet of aluminum that's marine grade and it's going to last, it's not going to change its state over time. It's still going to have that same value. Its value will increase in money because the money is going down in value. And this is the same idea of buying gold. The only reason I don't buy gold though is because it has no intrinsic value for me. So like even something like gold, well, I shouldn't say no intrinsic value. I could use it for something. But most of gold's value is based on the ability to use it to buy something else. So my thought is always like, well, why don't I just buy the things that would be useful, that will last, that don't have an expiry date. So for instance, a few years ago, I bought 3,500 stainless steel bolts, about that big, because some guy on Craigslist was just selling them super cheap, getting rid of them. I mean, it was like thousands of dollars worth of bolts, which I bought for I think like $250 I got them for. And I did that not because I needed 3,500 stainless steel bolts all at once, although I have used probably like 150 of them, but they won't decrease in value. So they're stainless, they'll last. I've just got them in boxes and buckets over there. They'll retain their value, and that's something that in the future I could potentially sell, and they won't lose their own value. So instead of buying gold or silver or stuff like that, I would rather buy things that are going to have value. And even if I can't sell them to someone else, I would use them. So, oh man, I can get stainless steel pipes for a huge thing. Oh my gosh. Well, I got to think about this. All right. If a pioneer like you solves all the problems, you invite a society in, and that is a problem no one can solve, in my opinion. Maybe in that case, it would be better to fix some of the problems. I think I get what you're saying. Well, I think, okay, so to get a society to keep going and thriving, you have to have people who are going to stay motivated, and you can't let the mooches start taking over. And one of the ways you do that is you keep looking for challenges. And I was talking about this in the video I was mentioning earlier about, the alpha male thing. So, to keep a society going, you need to keep having challenges, keep making it so that competent people are valuable. Because once you kind of sit back and say, well, everything's comfortable right now we can chill and just hang out, that's when the competent people become less useful, and they kind of get seen as party poopers. Come on, man, let's just chill out and have fun. Why are you trying to like do stuff? Let's chill, man. And that's when everything starts falling apart. So, I mean, one of the things I want to kind of make sure I do in my village here is kind of have people come who have this internal desire to always do something, to always progress, to always create in some way, because that's how you keep creativity alive. You got to keep creating. Do you notice? Wait, yeah. Do you notice stuff designed for planned obsolescence a lot more nowadays? How do you avoid it? Yes, like everything is designed for planned obsolescence now. Oh, I just saw a mosquito. Oh, get out of here. Yeah, increasingly, things are more and more designed for planned obsolescence, and that's not going to get better for a long time either. It just keeps getting worse. So that's what I was talking about when I was saying make stuff for yourself. So, well, there are a bunch of ways you can deal with this. One is obviously make stuff for yourself. So I have a whole bunch of stainless steel tools that I made myself. And those things, as long as I don't destroy them, they'll just keep lasting, I mean, basically forever. Not forever, but super long time. Another thing you can do is use things that are not designed for what you're using them for. So this is a way to it's kind of a way to sneak around the back door of planned obsolescence. So say you need some kind of rubber to put under something heavy, and the rubber's going to sit there and it'll insulate it from the ground or whatever. You need a strong piece of rubber. You could go to the store and say, I need a piece of floor rubber that does this and goes like this, and you can buy the thing that's designed for that. It's also designed to fail as that thing. Or you can say, okay, what's a piece of rubber that's designed for something much harsher than what I need? And you can go get a car tire, and you can also get it for free, because it's not that hard to get a car tire for free. And then you use a piece of car tire rubber, which is designed to work on a car, and it's designed to wear out, but it's not designed to wear out being sitting under some heavy piece of machinery, being an insulator or something. So you kind of look at stuff in the store that you can buy and say, what's there that's designed for a purpose that's much more rugged than what I'm going to do? And then you buy that instead of the thing that's designed for what you're going to do. Jaimie, how will the dynamic change if your kids don't agree with you philosophically work? I think that's, or don't agree with your philosophical outlook. I don't know if my kids don't agree with my philosophical outlook. I think there's a very good chance that my kids will agree with my philosophical outlook, because this is one of the things that you do as a parent. You teach your kids, presuming you're actually doing the job, you teach your kids how to deal with the world and how to think, and you give them ideologies that work. And one of the problems you can run into is you can tell your kids to believe in things. I think that's a very sketchy thing to do when you have kids. So if you're telling your kids to believe in something, they could decide they don't believe in it, and then you run into this different ideology problems. But if you really try hard to stick to things that are like basically impossible to argue against, then you have a really good chance of your kids going along with it. So I think there is a very good chance that my kids in general will, kind of stick to adventure builder principles and adventure builder virtues, because I'm always kind of explaining them in relation to their lives, and explaining how you want to do this, you use these adventure builder principles, and you do this, and you'll have success at doing all these different things you want to do. But of course, there is a chance that one or more of my kids is just going to say, "Nah, I don't agree with everything you say. I'm going to go do what these people said on YouTube or something." In which case, I don't know how I'll deal with it. I will use my own best judgment based on my own principles, and I'll deal with it however best I can. But in the end, you can only teach your kids so much. At some point, they have to start living their lives, and they have to decide how they're going to do it. So, yeah. Oh, 33,000 is the biggest gift I've ever seen. A lifetime of donations in one gift. Cash it out, Jaimie, before it crashes. Okay, here's a question. I don't really know that much about the Bitcoin deal and what's going on right now. Is it crashing, or is it going to go back up? So maybe to deal with that, I spend a chunk of it just in case one thing happens, but save some in case the other thing happens, So that's probably what I will do there. Although I still have to see it to believe it. We'll see. Yeah, bud, we can all see your address you have in your description. Oh, so like okay, I get what you're saying. Like if I have an address that people can send Bitcoin to, you can see what's in there until I take it out and like stick it in my wallet or whatever. Well, I guess I better go do that as soon as this is done. Check Bitcoin. Yeah, got it there. Okay. Well, that's amazing if that's there. I'm gonna have to do something pretty cool. Okay, let's see. You need competency. Yes, you do. You need resources. Failure is part of learning. Don't fail when things are mission critical. Yes, exactly. Don't wait until competition for resources is intense. Yeah, so this is Lauren going back to, if you're reliant on the system right now, and if you think the system is going fine, you think everything's going fine, then this won't mean anything. But if you're on the same page as me and a lot of other people and you kind of see this decline happening that's been happening over a long period of time. You think it's going to keep going down. Yeah, the sooner you can get out and do something about it, the better. Don't wait. Yeah, just like you said, don't wait until something is mission critical. Like try to solve a problem before you hit the point where it's desperate. It's kind of like driving a car into a brick wall. You don't hit the brakes when you hit the wall. This is too late. You already hit the wall. You're screwed. You hit the brakes when you see the wall coming. You're driving at a brick wall 60 miles an hour. You see the brick wall. You see there's nowhere to go. It's like, okay, I got to hit the brakes. I got to do something about this. Or maybe there is a turnoff. It's like you got to do something before you actually hit the brick wall. And if you wait till you're 3 feet in front of the brick wall, it's also too late. The sooner you can do something about an impending problem, the better. This also actually relates to something in the adventure builder philosophy that I think about a lot, which is honor. When there's a lie out there, and often lies come up not because you said a lie. There could just be a lie that was presumed, that you didn't correct, or something. There's a lot of ways that lies can just be out there in the world. The sooner you correct a lie, the sooner you tell someone the truth or whatever, the smaller negative consequences happen, and the longer you leave it. And people have this experience all the time. When you've told a lie, and it started out as just this little tiny thing, and you thought, it's not going to be a big thing. I'll just tell this little white lie because it's easier. And then like 3 weeks later, it's like compounded upon itself, and it's become this huge thing. And you're just like, wow, what do I do about this now? I can't tell the truth now because it's such a huge thing. I wish I just told the truth back 3 weeks ago. And it's like, I can't tell the truth now. And then another week goes by and it's like, oh my gosh, it's even worse now. I wish I told the truth a week ago. And at some point you just have to be like, okay, I just got to tell the truth, because it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. A lot of problems are like that. You got to do something about them before you crash. I think he meant transporting the mill to the log. Oh, okay. This is about the lumber mill. Am I going to keep the lumber mill in one place and bring logs to it, or am I going to take the lumber mill like out into the jungle? No, I'm going to keep the lumber mill in one place, and I'm going to bring logs here for a few reasons. One is that the power source for the lumber mill is going to be solar panels. So yeah, sorry for the misunderstanding earlier. Now I totally understand the question. But if I'm not going to drag like a huge amount of solar panels out into the jungle and then set them up on a big thing above the canopy of the trees. And I also don't want to run a gasoline motor. Like if I'm going to do a lumber mill in a more portable way, kind of the obvious way to do that would be use gasoline as the power. I want to run it off solar power. So I'm going to have the lumber mill here, and I'll take a gas powered chainsaw probably and cut logs to whatever size I can move. And then I got to get them to the water. And once I get them to the water, it's pretty easy to get them to here. I can either put them on a boat, or if I can't get them on the boat, or if I think they're too big or whatever, I can just drag them through the water, because it's not that far from where I can find logs to here. Like I can drag them through the water pretty easily. And then once they get here, I'm going to have some kind of system to get them to where I have the lumber mill. And I'm not sure where I'm going to put the lumber mill yet. One obvious place would be like near the water, so I can get the logs up right into the lumber mill from the water, like very easily. But I kind of like to get the lumber mill up on the top of the hill where it's further from the water, partly because I don't want to get salt water on the parts. But another thing is the lumber mill is going to make a lot of sawdust, and I can use that sawdust to build up some soil. And I want to do that kind of where maybe I could set up the lumber mill down by the water for a while and let a lot of sawdust accumulate there, because I want to build up the soil there, because it's not very good soil, and the water gets kind of close to the ground level, so I want to build it up. But I don't know. Either way, I'm gonna have the lumber mill here on this island, so I'm gonna move. I'm not sure exactly where I'll put it yet, but kind of in my brain, I've been thinking I want to put it at the top of the hill and just figure out some way to get logs up to the top of the hill. I'm not entirely sure about that yet, though. Start a small garden in your backyard, then scale up. Yeah, man. Just start a garden, start growing some peppers and tomatoes, whatever. You know what? When I used to visit Florida a lot, because I had family there, I'd visit them. I'd see people cutting down orange trees. And one time I was out and I asked the guy, well, man, why are you cutting down your orange trees? It's got oranges on it. Like what are you doing, man? He's like, oh, I don't want to have to deal with fruits on this tree. I'd rather just go buy them at the store. I'm like, what are you talking about? You have them growing right here. He's like, yeah, but if I don't pay attention to it, you know, some oranges fall on the ground and attract rats and bugs. It's just easier to not deal with that and just go buy it at the store. And I think that thinking is gonna change fairly soon. How long exactly? I don't know, but yeah. The way you made 2 L brackets from that one T bar blew my mind. Well, thanks, Sadie. I actually wasn't sure if that was going to work out at the beginning, but then I realized, yeah, it'll totally work out. I just had to, figure it out. And it came out really good when I got it all bolted together. I mean, it took me like, I don't know, an hour and a half to drill all the holes because it was pretty thick metal. But yeah, once I bolted it all together, oh man, it runs so smooth. And it's that metal's so big and strong. It keeps everything so rigid, and the whole thing is so heavy. I think it's gonna be really good because when you have like a tool that's really heavy and it's cutting something, it's not gonna move when it hits a little more resistance in the wood or something. Because if you have like a really light saw and you're going through and it hits a knot or something, the saw can kind of hit that and jolt. But when you have a really heavy thing, it's much less likely to do that. It's more likely to just power right through. Yeah, and even the shaft that spins and the motor, that's even got a lot of momentum. So when it hits something hard, it should be able to have enough momentum to plow through a lot of stuff. Happy New Year, everyone, Mr. Landfill. Why does Mr. Landfill have that name? Well, it's spelled Landphill, so landfill. I don't know. Do you run a dump or something? I don't know. I used to love going to the dump when they used to let you in. Start seeing trash as raw material. That's going to happen more and more often. Then make something cool from the trash. Lather, rinse, repeat. Eventually, you'll be an adventure builder. Yeah, anytime you can take something from the garbage system and turn it into the useful system, that's a beautiful thing. And this kind of goes back to when you build up a society to where there's so much abundance that people are throwing stuff away, that's when you start getting the decline because people start taking resources and just trashing them. And yeah, then you get the other part of the cycle, the downhill part. Exactly, classic dude, Mike. Junkyard Josh. I have so many junkyard people here. It's great. I love junkyards. Are you on the Caribbean or Pacific side? I'm on the Caribbean side. The Pacific side of the ocean here has I think it's 17-foot tides. So 5 or 6 meters the water goes up and down. Here it only goes up and down like 2 feet, less than a meter, maybe 2.5 feet. I don't know, it's less than a meter, which is kind of nice because just imagine the water going up and down like 2 stories. You park your boat on the shore, and then 4 hours later, the ocean is like half a mile away. Or you park your boat at the shore, and then where you parked it is now half a mile from where the shore is. It's crazy when you have tides that big. Having an eye for good trash is a good superpower to develop. That is an excellent superpower. Whenever I'm walking around in town, I'm always keeping an eye on the ground. And I mean, almost every time I go to town, I find some useful thing. A lot of times I'll find a stainless washer or a stainless bolt. And who cares about one stainless washer or one stainless bolt, right? But no, I'll pick them up, put them in my pocket. And then I have this jar, or this little, not a jar, but a little metal container that I throw them into when I get home. you know, years of doing this, I have like this jar of like useful bits and pieces of stuff, like springs and nuts and bolts and screws and nails and just all this little stuff that I just found on the side of the street and threw in there. Magnets, just all kinds of little bits. And I often also find things for my kids. So when I was just in town a few days ago, I found a hair clip, and it looked like a perfectly good hair clip, like someone probably just dropped it and it was just sitting on the sidewalk, just sitting there in the sun. So I figured it was probably sterilized by the sun for a while if anyone had germs on it. But it looked like it was brand new. So I put that in my pocket, brought it back to my kids. And then there was this little green ball. I guess some kid was probably playing for it, lost track of it, and ended up rolling away. It looked also like it was brand new, so I brought that home to my kids. And it's kind of funny. Like whenever I come home from town, often I've got some little presents for my kids, and they're always like, "Whoa, cool! You know, where'd you find this?" You know. Yes. I see a giant robot in your future. Oh my gosh, you're right. If I just got a bunch of money, I could totally use it for giant robot parts. I wasn't even thinking about that yet. Oh my gosh. I got. Yeah. As soon as I get off this thing, my brain's gonna explode with like what I can do. Thumbs up, everyone. You know how the internet works. I'm not sure what that means, but yes, I know how. Well, I know roughly how the internet works. Same here. Bought 5,000 pounds worth of A4 stainless bolts and nuts from 500. For 500. Yeah, isn't it great? Whenever you can find, or at least for me, and apparently for Cheap Vlog too. Yeah, anytime you find materials that are long-lasting things, like something stainless or like marine grade aluminum or something made out of a material that's not going to degrade over time, and someone's trying to get rid of it, I'm just like, I will take it. What, you have 650 stainless steel pipes and you're just basically trying to get rid of them? I'm not prepared to take them right now, but I will take them. You know, let me go get my boat. I'll do whatever I need to do to I'll take it if it's like some special deal, and then I'll figure out some way, something to do with them. Or worst case scenario, yeah, you know, you have a valuable thing, as long as you can store them in a reasonable way, then you could sell them if you need, or maybe your friends need a thing and you just have it. You know, it's always a good idea to jump on that stuff. I don't think Bitcoin, this is Will Darling, I don't think Bitcoin will crash much more, but good idea. Take half out now and keep half in. Yeah, Ray Bacon says, I believe Bitcoin will eventually go back up, but there is some major crypto upset currently that is making things really bad right now. Okay, so there is something just kind of going on with that. Crypto already down 75%, already crashed. Now the time to buy. So maybe the general consensus is Bitcoin's going to go back up. So yeah, I should maybe use some of it, but kind of hope for, you know, a recovery. Oh, Jorge Agis. I'm not sure which country you're from, so I could be totally saying your name wrong. If you built yourself an chronoplane, would it be electric or with like a motorcycle engine? I'm thinking electric. An chronoplane, that's a ground effect vehicle, right? The ground effect plane that flies low to the ground, where you have this special effect where low to the ground, you kind of bunch up the air against the ground and it kind of makes it more fluffy and you can fly more efficiently. You don't need, you know, it just gives you more lift. I really doubt Jay will do a combustion engine. You are correct, yeah. Wow, nice. Somebody did send you 2 Bitcoins. Well, you can just look this up. I need to learn how to do this stuff more. Maybe primitive textile using alcohol he made himself. Now, I think if I'm making a ground effect vehicle, I want to do it electric. I do want to build a steam engine at some point, partly because it's fun and partly because, you know, it can run on anything, like basically burn anything. So that would totally work in an apocalypse, right? But I think it would be so fun to have like a big boat with a steam engine on, a nice big steam engine or whatever. I mean, it's got to be some kind of big, you know, for the boiler and all the boiling water and everything, and just be there like like shoveling wood in there and like, and it's like, I think that would be so fun. And like to get the kids involved. Hey kids, stock the fire. Let's go. I think that would be so fun to have a steam engine boat going. I definitely need to do that at some point. I'll probably do that before I build an airplane, actually. But I don't know. We'll see. I currently have boats that function, so there are other things that I need to do that are higher priority. Jaimie, have you looked into biochar? Have you looked at building terra preta on your island? Okay, I've looked into that stuff a little bit, but I definitely need to learn more. And biochar is like basically, tell me if I'm getting this wrong, but like charcoal that's like kind of soaked in like poop tea, basically, to absorb nutrients, and then you put that in your garden, and it slowly releases the nutrients. Is that what I'm talking about? And terra preta, like basically making good soil. Yeah, I need to get on that more. That's one of the things that I want to do more this year. Kicking more butt, getting the soil on my island better, so that I can plant pretty much anything and it just grows like crazy. I've grown watermelons, not on my island, and they grew huge, and it was amazing. Oh my God, I loved growing huge watermelons. It was so nice. And I've tried to grow them here. I haven't been successful yet, and I'm pretty sure it's just because the ground is so clay. And even mixing in some compost and stuff, it's still like I have some work to do getting the soil good here. But I want to be able to grow lots of stuff. So yeah, I definitely need to learn more about the soil and what to do and everything. Jaimie, I recently saw another YouTuber made a video recently. Visit your old dome house in Vermont. It looked abandoned. Would love to hear your thoughts. Yeah, my thoughts are that almost a decade ago, I sold my house in Vermont to someone else, and I didn't look back. And that was a conscious decision. I decided that once I sell it, it's someone else's. I don't really want to know what's going on there after that. And I'm pretty sure it's not abandoned at this point. Actually, when I lived in my house in Vermont, people would hike up to my house while I was there and say, "Hey, have you seen this cool abandoned house?" And I'd be like, "Yeah, that's my house." And, "Oh, what are you moving in?" I'm like, "No, this is my house. I built it. This is my house." Like, "What are you talking about?" "No, this is an abandoned house in the woods." And I'm like, "No, it's not. This is my house." That happened a bunch of times, actually. And then, people kind of pass the word around that, oh no, some guy actually lives there, even though, it looks like some crazy person's house in the woods. There's a crazy person to go with it. It would be fun to watch you build a retort. You mean a resort? I create retorts often in these talking videos. I'm thinking you must mean build a resort. Though you don't really need to get that fancy to make charcoal. A retort? Building a retort. Wait, is a retort something to do with charcoal? Oh, maybe a retort is not just a retort like making an argument. Maybe a retort is a thing to make charcoal. I can make charcoal. I have plenty of charcoal because I cook with wood fires. So every time I dump out the stove thing, a bunch of ashes and charcoal come out. So I can. Like, I'm making charcoal already. I've been thinking about quitting, not quilting my job. I've been thinking about quitting my job and doing all my dreams all at once. I'm going to take 1.5 years to be a beekeeper, build a dome home, make a documentary about something I'm passionate about. That sounds amazing, Guillermo Gonzalez. Yeah, that sounds like an awesome adventure. If you saved up enough money or resource or whatever you need to be able to do that, yeah, totally do it, man. And at the end of that, you'll have a home. Do it in a place where you're not going to have to do it in a place where you can buy the land outright and you won't have expenses, and then you can kind of live free. So it's so much more freeing to live in a place where you're not constantly paying for it. It's just a real monkey off your back once you do that. I collected software way back in the 1980s, so much so that my friend said that if you ever toss it out, it would choke a landfill. My name is Phil, so landfill stuck. Now I am like old dirt. Now I'm old like dirt, so Mr. Landfill. Well, that totally explains it. Collected software back in the 90s. Yeah. Man, back in the 80s. Yeah, back in the 80s, software was big. It took a lot of those discs. Mr. Landfill. Is the roof finished? No, I've not finished the roof. Um, yeah, I'll work on it whenever I get the right kind of weather. But yeah, I'm working on a whole bunch of other things. Lately, I've been mostly working on the lumber mill, partly because I'm really excited about it, and partly because it's going so well. And at some point, I'm going to run into a point where I need some parts, and then I'll put that on hold while I order parts. I'm not sure though. Maybe I won't need to order parts. We'll see. But yeah, I have several kind of big projects going right now, and the way I look at it is like, as long as I'm accomplishing progress in any one of them, it's good progress. So I just pick whichever one I'm inspired to work on right now. And lately it's been the lumber mill. And I want to get the shark slicer, my cargo boat, going again too. I want to get the pedals in there, change a bunch of stuff about it. So that's pretty high on the priority list. Stainless steel bolts and nuts and aluminum material are endlessly reusable. Yeah, you can do so much with that stuff. White Merchant Flower says buy now. But buy what now? Or just buy stuff in general now that will last because the prices are going up. There's a YouTube channel called Amazing Do-Yourself Projects. He makes flying machines, probably a good source of inspiration for electric flying vehicles. Let's see. Amazing Do-Yourself Projects. Amazing DIY projects on YouTube. And let's draw a little picture of an airplane, because that guy builds airplanes apparently. All right. When I have some time, I'll check that out. You are such a cool character. Much love from Finland. Well, thanks, Jeff Wait, Jeff Thermite? I love Thermite. It's delicious. Actually, I have some Thermite supplies, I guess you call them. Well, it's just like a bunch of iron filings. I'm waiting for them to rust. And then, I always have aluminum filings. But it'll be fun to play with some Thermite. I'm wondering if you could make a steam engine out of a two-stroke motorcycle engine. Probably. I don't know how I'm going to make a steam engine when I get to that point. But my thought, with basically no planning, just off the top of my head right now, is that I would want to make the steam engine basically from scratch. Although I don't know. Yeah, that's just my first thought at the moment. So we'll see. Your bike generator in Vermont still works. I love that thing. I wish that was here, because like on a really cloudy day, that would be. It was so nice. Like when I was in Vermont, and we had cloudy days for like a week, and it was like, hey, let me go get some exercise, charge up the batteries at the same time. I want to make one of those here. Partly because then I can also get the kids involved. Man, when I have like these sort of athletic events with the kids, I made a video about one a little while ago about running laps around the house. Yeah, they get so excited and into it. And it's hilarious seeing my 2-year-old daughter like get into these athletic events, these impromptu athletic events I do. She gets so excited, like when she's running the laps around the house. We're all cheering for her, and she's just got this smile, like, and she's like so excited she's gonna explode and just running along. Oh, so yeah, if I had a electricity making bike, I could get the kids all involved in that, and maybe have a meter on it, say, all right, you got to get to this many watt hours, and they can watch the number. Yeah, I want to make one of those. Have to cut it short. Thanks for always having awesome content. See you next week. I do my best to always give awesome content, but I know I don't always, but thank you for saying that anyway. Mr. Landfill, have an excellent afternoon, or depending on where you are, day, whatever. New Year resolution, buy a piece of land and build own off-grid dome. That sounds amazing. And Jorge, if do you want to do that in Central America by any chance? If not, if you do, talk to me. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit, and I can discuss whatever. But if not, I would love to see pictures or video or anything of that. So if you were, if you felt like sharing, I would love to see it. My email is down there. And if you have a YouTube channel or Instagram or whatever people have today, or even a Facebook thing with some pictures, I would love to see. Same with like anyone's cool projects. Like if anyone's doing some amazing projects, feel free to email me like a picture of what you're doing. I love seeing that stuff. I know it's mostly a one-way street here where I'm always showing what I'm doing. I really like seeing what other people are doing too, though. A few people do that, actually. There are a few people who every once in a while, like every few months, I'll get some message saying, hey, check out this thing I'm working on. And it's really cool. Amazing do-it-yourself is amazing. Yes, flying builds, but also loved his car with giant inflatable wheels. Jorge, nice idea. I bought land in Paraguay. Just saving money now for materials. Going to use aircrete. Oh, that sounds okay, Guillermo. You gotta show us what you're doing. That's so cool. I love seeing that kind of stuff. Jaimie, Cerebras CS2 chip has 400,000 cores. This chip is the largest in the world. It's the size of a wafer. Thought you would find this interesting. I presume this is a computer chip? It's got to be a computer chip, right? Well, that's cool. I'd love to buy my own plot of land down there and build a passive solar earth-bermed house dome. That sounds awesome. You should do it, man. Lauren, are you talking about down there, like down here or down somewhere else? Because if it's down here, let me know. We can talk about it. If you're serious about it. Jorge Agues, South Africa. I guess that's where you're from. Totally into styrocrete. Sourcing from recycling center, already grown down. Yeah, the styrocrete, I'm really happy with this styrocrete. So that's all styrocrete right there. Like it's pretty strong. It's obviously not going to have the compressive strength of this part, which is regular concrete. Wait, this part's regular concrete. So this is obviously stronger than styrocrete. But the styrocrete is really strong still, and it's a little bit flexible. Like obviously the concrete is still a tiny bit flexible with it. Yeah, I'm really happy with the styrocrete in general. And obviously also because it uses a huge amount of garbage, because the styrofoam, gets used once in packaging materials and then just like ends up in the ocean or whatever. It's really good to use it for something. Computer chip indeed. Lauren Booker says, Panama sounds good. Dude, send me an email. Let's talk about it. Because, I've kind of, been working on my own stuff for a while, not really focus on building the village as much. So I've been building the village. It's just going slowly, but that's one of the things I want to start working more directly on, building the village, So yeah, send me an email if you're thinking about moving here, and, building a house, doing all the stuff, getting some land. And, I'm also not opposed to renting out a piece of land of mine long term. Originally, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do that, but right now, there's someone here who is like, can I just rent like a piece of land from you, like long term? And I was like, all right. And yeah, it's totally fine. Like I would totally do that. I'd love a potato chip with 400,000 cores. Potato chips. You know what I have right now? I don't have any potatoes, but I have this. It's similar potatoes. It's called yam pea, but I think it's actually Nyam pea. It's got an enye at the beginning. So an enye is like an N with a little squiggle over it, and it's a ny, so it's nyam pea. Although a lot of people just write it with a Y instead and just call it yam pea. It's like a potato-y kind of thing that grows in the ground. Looks a little bit more like a yucca, like big and has a thick skin on it. But they make the best fries and the best potato chips. Oh man, they're so good. Sometimes you get certain kind of potatoes that make really good fries and really good potato chips. Yeah, man, these yam pea, man, they make the best fries and potato chips. The only downside to them is when you get the peel off and you get into them, they're so slimy. It's like almost hard to keep a grip on them. And then after you're done cutting it, You got like all this snot all over your hands. Although it comes off pretty easily. It's water soluble for the most part. This Vasco Zuzu's hello. Ni-oki. I have no idea what Ni-oki means. But it looks like I'm at the bottom of the comments here. Oh, no, another one just came up. Question. Oh, here's a question. All right. Question. All right, let's get ready for questions. Okay. Where will the village be? On the farm property? Okay, the village is just in the area. So my original idea for the village is just people would come and buy their own land from, you know, local people around, because there's a lot of land around here that's not necessarily for sale, like not listed in real estate or anything, but people will sell land around here. It's not that hard to get some. So my original idea for a village was that people would come and, you know, maybe stay with me for a little bit, but buy their own land. Although now that I've got someone renting a piece of land for me, I don't want to say how much it is, because it's a very low amount of money. And I don't want everyone to be like, yeah, man, can I come rent like an acre from you for like nothing? But yeah, she also has kids though. That was a huge incentive. Kids who can hang out with my kids. Anyway, I would be totally fine with you know, renting land long term for a village. I don't want to do a thing where I have a village where people just come and they're like just living on my land for free, because that kind of, it causes some problems. One problem is that then I'm kind of like your king or something, like your lord. Like I'm just like, not even like your king or your lord. It's like you're my baby. You know, I don't want anyone to be like my baby, and I don't think anyone wants to be like my child. So I would have to charge some kind of rent, but I don't need it to be much, just something reasonable and acceptable to everyone. And that could even be negotiated in terms of like, if someone is growing a garden, like I will totally buy food from you with your own rent money, and then you could just, you know, rent an acre or whatever from me for food, basically, or whatever, you know. So I guess my ideas for how the village works exactly is pretty open. And originally I was thinking everyone would buy their own land, but if people want to rent spots on my land, I do have one chunk of pretty big land. You know, maybe people want to get together and buy and, you know, rent some little spots near each other and have like a little village right in one spot. And yeah, I mean, I'm open to a lot of different things. So there's no specific set way of doing it. Hello, Zach Cooked. Classic Dude Mike, sounds more like an adventure club region rather than a village. I don't know what to call it. I call it a community. People think it's a commune. I call it a village. I think, is a village fine? I don't know. It's just, I just want to have cool neighbors. I want to live, I just want to have cool people around, you know? Like I want to be working on something and say, I'm not sure how to do this, but my neighbor right over there has done something like this before. Maybe I can go talk to them and see if I can get some advice. Or maybe people could come over and be like, hey, Jaimie, you know, I'm building this thing, and I heard that you have like thousands of stainless steel bolts. Can I just buy them from you instead of the place? And I'll be like, yeah, man. You know, so they don't have to go and get them. They can just get them right here. And you know, people just collaborate and work together on things. You know, and then even things like growing food, for example. You know, sometimes you get like 4 giant bunches of bananas that are all ready at the same time. It's like, I used to have this problem with one giant bunch of bananas, but now I have 4 kids, and they go through it like nothing. They'll eat like 20 bananas at once. It's ridiculous. But you know, with food, sometimes you harvest too much to eat all at once, and then you just share with your friends, and they can share with you, and you become friends and collaborate and work together in all these cool ways. And that's the stuff that makes life really good, you know. So whatever I have to do to get that to happen, yeah, I'm all for it. But who doesn't want to have a king or be king? I do not want to be a king, and I do not want to have a king. See, this goes back to that whole dominance hierarchy of slaves and masters. I don't think that kind of hierarchy is valuable. I think that what brings down civilizations. What creates civilizations is individuals trying to improve themselves and doing and putting the most value out into the world that they can, like increasing their own value and increasing the value around. And whenever you have a leader in that situation, they're a leader because the people want them to be a leader. As soon as leaders become a leader because of some authority, because of some certificate or title, then that leader is not held to a standard of excellence. And they're the leader no matter what, and you just have to do what they say. But when you're in a situation where competence is what is valued, then the person leading is the person who's doing the best job of it. And if they start doing a bad job of it, people say, whoa, things are not going in the right direction now. Can you either do better, or maybe we can get someone to help you, or maybe we just need someone else to take the leadership spot. And then the person in that leadership role, since they know they're not there because of some kind of authority, they say, oh, okay, my position here is not, it's not like a position that I get to keep or anything. It's just as long as I can do the job. And now it seems like I can't do the job. Yeah, we got to get someone else either help me or take over. And then leadership doesn't become this coveted position of power. It becomes this huge responsibility, and people don't necessarily want it, but they'll do it because they can add more value to the community by doing it. So yeah, this whole idea of a king and rulers is just stupid to me. And it doesn't go anywhere. It's not a long-term thing. Gulch, Mansell's Manor. Yeah. I can't wait to visit. Well, come over. Incredible adventures, working on things, food and fish. Collaboration Island. Yeah, man. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see where this goes. Now that I'm going to start putting more direct effort into it. And one of the reasons I can put more direct effort into, like building the village more is because I've got a lot of my own things straightened out. I've got a house, I've got boats, I've got I still have a lot of things I'm working on, but I've gotten my head above water, kind of, like I don't feel like I'm drowning. I'm up on my feet and I'm running. I don't feel like I'm being dragged along anymore. I love how you're just planting all kinds of food all over the island, and it just grows into more and more perennial source of fresh produce. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, and I do plant things all over because I don't know what's going to grow well where. And like papaya trees, I've planted those frickin' everywhere, all over the island. And there's like one spot kind of in front of my house to the left a little bit where there are 4 different papaya trees growing, all kind of in the same area. And I'm like, fine, that's the papaya zone. You do it there. But yeah, I've got all kinds of fruit trees planted and all kinds of different stuff planted in different places. And most of it doesn't take, partly because the soil's not that great. But, again, that I'm also working on, figuring out how to get the soil better. But yeah, like at some point I'll have so much food just growing. I'll have enough like calories to survive at that point. And that'll be a really cool thing. And that doesn't mean I'll only eat that food, but yeah, getting to the point where you're growing enough calories to survive. That's going to be a really cool point to get to. Happy New Year from my communist country of Trinidad. Dude, most of the world is communist now. I mean, they don't all call themselves communists, but yeah. Can you get beef out there? Well, I can if I go to the store. I got some the other day. There are also people around here who have cows. Oh, so on my biggest piece of property, it's on a big island, so it's not an island on its own. Right now, I'm on an island just of my own. I'm the only one here. But on my bigger property, it's on a really big island. And the property behind it has a whole bunch of cows. And then the one behind that to the side also has a bunch of cows. And I haven't gotten any beef from them, but I presume they probably butcher them once in a while. I've gotten pigs, parts of pigs, not a whole pig, parts of pigs from a guy who lives over there. But I could actually have cows of my own too. People with an IQ lower than 85 take too much guidance. They're roughly 16% of the population. 16% of the population is below 85 IQ. Ouch. They need leadership. They need hierarchy. Okay. They need leadership, but they don't need a leader who has who's leading because they have a title. I mean, why do people bring up these huge topics like 2 hours in? Because I'm basically going to stop talking in a minute. But that's a huge discussion right there. Like everything you just talked about is like, there are people who are basically unable to take care of themselves. And it's just a lot to unpack. There's a lot to figure out how to deal with that and what to do. Ian says, you don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to be a landlord. If I'm doing a thing where I'm renting land to people, I guess I am the landlord at that point. But I'll only do it if you're basically in charge of your piece of land. And once you're not satisfied, you just go somewhere else or whatever, and it's still my land and whatever. I would not want to be a landlord as in the kind of person who's got a building with certain maintenance that it needs all the time and resources. No, I would only do it if I'm like renting you the land. Maybe I would build like a dome or something, like something very simple. But after that, you take care of yourself. Like you want internet, I can help you figure out how to set it up and everything, but you're responsible for it. You're responsible for your water collection system, your solar power. Like you take care of all that stuff. So I would not want to be a landlord who like sets up all the electricity and the water and the internet and whatever else people need, and then I'm responsible for constantly fixing it. So I definitely wouldn't want to do it that way. Start composting all that free cow poop. Well, the cow poop isn't on my property. It's the other people's property. But yeah, maybe I should get a cow. I've been thinking about getting goats. My neighbor who's here, who's become part of the village, and it looks like he's staying. I think he likes it. He's been talking about getting goats. And yeah, goats are kind of like mini cows that smell worse, which is funny because cows don't smell that great, but goats smell terrible. Although goat milk. So goat milk has a really strong flavor, right? That's why a lot of people don't like goat milk. However, I've had fresh goat milk, like sucked right out of the goat, like within hours. And it tastes like fresh milk. Although I still do think it's weird that adult humans drink baby cow milk and baby goat milk. I mean, I do it, but I think it's weird that we do it. But at the same time, it's considered weird to drink human breast milk. Like if I were to drink some human breast milk, people would say, well, that's strange. And I would even feel like, well, this is kind of weird. Am I okay to do this? I would totally do it though, right? I mean, I think I would do that if I had I don't know, that's kind of weird. Like to have a cup of human breast milk, it just sounds like it's stupid. It shouldn't be weird. It should be no more weird than having a cup of like cow milk. Why are we so weird about that? You know what? If I this is never going to come up anyway, so I'm not really going to have to do it. But if I come across human breast milk from someone I know, I don't know. All right, I'm going to get off this topic because it's getting weird. But we should totally be able to drink human breast milk, at least as easily as we drink cow milk, right? Goat milk ice cream is the best ice cream I've ever had. Really? That's interesting. Are you plant-based? I am not plant-based. I eat everything. I think that will be amazing for the issue for climate change. I don't think being plant-based, like becoming vegetarians, fixes the climate issue at all, actually. I think factory farming is more a problem than people eating meat. And factory farming of meat or plants. Because, if you wipe out a huge area of land to grow soy or corn or whatever single crop you're growing, destroy the land over a few years, like that's as big a problem as, having some chickens locked in cages. I mean, the whole thing is just, the factory farming industry in general is just terrible. And that's another huge reason that it's a good idea to grow your own food as much as possible. Anyway, what are we going? Goats are the way to go. Yeah, goats are like mini cows that will eat anything. I am building a house float of all recycled materials that float down the lake I live above. Oh, that is so cool. Building a floating house. I thought about building a floating house here. I actually even have drawn up plans to do it and stuff. That is really cool. Again, I would love to see a picture of that or video or whatever. So feel free to share. You know, maybe I should have like a Facebook page or something where people can share this stuff more, because I love seeing that stuff. We drink milk as an adaptation to surviving in cold climates, living in close quarters with animals. Yeah, totally. Yeah, at some point, like people didn't used to drink animal milk, but you know, when you're stuck in a cave and it's snowing outside and you're going to freeze to death and you got a cow and it's like making milk, it's like, well, I guess I might as well give it a try. And then the people who could still digest the milk, they had a huge survival advantage. So yeah, that's why we can drink milk as adults. If I only had if I only had access to human breast milk, though, I would totally drink it to survive. Randall Kreitz, I'll send you some pics. Great. Yeah, I totally want to see. Zach says, your idea seems so cool because we are on the brink of a mass extinction of ecosystems, and I am so on board with your idea. Which idea? But yeah, cows belch a lot of methane. It takes 20 times more land and food to raise cows. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's 20 times. I've heard a lot of, once people start giving me facts and figures, I'm always a little wary because I'm like, where do these facts and figures come from? Because I've spoken with a lot of vegans. I used to have a best friend. I mean, I'm still friends with him, but I haven't seen him in a while. But I had a best friend who was a vegan, and he would put up all these posters of all these facts about veganism and meat, and they were mostly not anywhere near correct. So I don't know. The land used for cattle is not suitable to grow crops on. Well, that's a good point. Yeah, there's always information like this. And then cattle will poop on the land and fertilize it. So the thing is, like, there's no way to just like snap your fingers and say, well, I'm a vegetarian, I solved the world's problems, I fixed it. Or I'm a vegan, I fixed the problem. Or you know, there's no simple thing where it's like you can just pick this arbitrary thing and say, I'm not going to do this one thing. I'm not going to buy bottled water from now on. Therefore, I've solved the plastic in the ocean problem. No, it's like you got to think about the whole problem and figure out how it all fits together. So, for example, you know, cows poop and they make fertilizer. So if you get rid of all the cows, you're also getting rid of a bunch of fertilizer that can grow plants. And you know, when you start looking at the whole system and just figure out how you can get everything to work together better, that's how you solve the problems. And the problem right now is that factory farming does not do any of that. It's just like we're just gonna wipe out a huge amount of land and put one thing on it. That's gonna destroy the land. Yeah, it's just not sensible and not sustainable. I've heard stories of women who make a living selling human breast milk on Etsy. Oh yeah, there's like human breast milk cheese and stuff you can get too. Tomaters was away for a few minutes, but he's back. Hello, Tomaters. I almost put a pop on. Oh, sorry, I almost put a pop-up camper on an old pontoon boat, and turns out it's not a good idea. Oh, that's funny. You know, when I'm reading these comments as I go on and on, my brain's thinking about all these different things that people have talked about, and it gets harder to read because my brain is thinking about other things. So excuse my slurring words. But I think this might be the end because we're at 2 hours and 9 minutes already. Does Panama have any kind of laws about living in a floating house just off the coast, or is it like free landless living space? Well, I think I don't know specifically the answer to that question. But if I was going to live in a floating house, I would just call it a boat and just like live in a boat. Or even better yet, I would just live in a boat because then I can actually move if I needed to move for some reason. But yeah, it's basically a boat, right? And I don't know what all the rules are exactly. Human breast milk. I'd love to try that again, straight from the source. Yeah. Thanks for hosting us, Jaimie, Lauren says. Okay, I think we've probably gotten sick of Jaimie yabber blabbing on enough right now. I'm going to go check my Bitcoin right now because I hear there might be something I should pay attention to and make some interesting plans. And yeah, I'm gonna consider kicking butt. My New Year's resolution this year. I'm gonna start socializing more. Try to get this village going more. I'm gonna try to find a girlfriend, and basically get my people life in order. You know, get my people life in order. I've gotten so much of my building life in order, and I'm gonna keep building and everything. I'm gonna keep doing that like crazy. But I want to get more people stuff going. Okay. I hope everyone's having an excellent day. And oh, giant robot, yes. Probably no easy silver bullet to solve huge problems. Yeah, you're right. Okay, everyone have an excellent day. And I apologize if I was extra pixely this week. I don't know what's going on, or if it was or not. But okay, I'm going, and everybody have an excellent day. And let's make this year amazing. Yeah, let's just make this year amazing. Let's see how much value we can put into the world as we're living. Okay, I'm out. Everyone have a great day.